Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world today. We welcome you to our session on exploring next gen AI. I'm Mariama Jalloh, a program director at the Alliance for Innovative Regulation, and I'm joined by my colleague Nitya Malladi. And over the next half hour, we'll take a closer look at AIR's Next Gen AI program, its highlights, resources, and the incredible work we've done together in understanding and harnessing generative AI in financial regulation. Throughout the session, we'll have some polling questions to keep it interactive and gauge your thoughts. So please keep an eye out for those, and you can access the poll to the right. So let's dive in. Next slide, please. Here's a roadmap of what we'll cover today. We'll start with an overview of the Next Gen AI program and its objectives. Then we'll walk through our four key initiatives, roundtables, tech showcase, shared learning sessions, and a call for papers. Finally, we'll guide you through resources we've developed and curated for your continued exploration of generative AI's potential in financial oversight. Let's get started with the program overview. Next slide. The Next Gen AI program is the Alliance for Innovative Regulations initiative to explore how generative AI can reshape financial regulation and consumer protection. We launched this program last year in October 2023 at SuitTech. We've worked to create a platform for meaningful dialogue, showcasing innovations, and developing skills within regulatory agencies. Through this, we focused on key areas like data led supervision, compliance automation, and consumer centric financial services. The outcomes: thoughtful discussions, groundbreaking showcases, and a wealth of resources. You can find more details on our program website, and I'll share the links again at the end and throughout the session. Next slide, please. AIR's Next Gen AI program revolves around four key initiatives. I mentioned them a little bit earlier. Roundtables, which fostered robust debates and shared diverse perspectives within the ecosystem. The Tech Showcase, which highlighted or spotlighted real world solutions powered by Gen AI. Shared learning sessions, which created a collaborative space for discussing ethics, inclusion, and innovation. And the Call for Papers, which cultivated thought leadership featuring insights from global experts. Each initiative has its unique focus, but together they paint a comprehensive picture of generative AI's transformative potential. Next slide. So our roundtables really sparked a dynamic conversation on how generative AI could be utilized for financial regulation and in financial services as a whole. We gathered insights from regulators, financial service providers, technologists, and advocates, focusing on real world challenges and opportunities within financial regulation. From Singapore FinTech Festival to our GFIN World Cafe brainstorming workshop that was held in Washington, D.C., we explored the opportunities and the benefits of generative AI, such as enhanced financial services that will lead to improved customer service, personalized planning, efficient credit underwriting, fraud detection, and ways that generative AI can democratize access to financial advice, allowing more consumers to have access to better financial planning. We also explored how generative AI can enable regulatory efficiencies by automating compliance, performing data analysis on large and unstructured data sets at a click of a button, typically much faster than traditional methods. Generative AI's use in summarizing complex documents and generating insights, and performing automated market monitoring. Another benefit that was discussed around generative AI is how it can reduce costs by streamlining operations, reducing compliance costs through gained efficiencies, and how generative AI can foster competition in the financial sector. While we discuss the positive outcomes of generative AI, we also discuss the risks and challenges that come along with this emerging technology, such as data privacy and ethical governance, the biases that exist in some data sets, the black box theory that cause a sense of uneasiness for regulations and our regulators. And we cannot deny the fact that generative AI is being utilized by bad actors and fraudsters to scale fraud activity. The discussions emphasize the importance of human AI collaboration and responsible innovation. The key takeaways included applications like synthetic data generation, fraud detection, and compliance automation. Now, let's see how these ideas translated into tangible solutions in our tech showcase. Next slide. One of the most pivotal aspects of our program is the use case development. What are some ways that generative AI can be deployed? This was a major topic of discussion at our roundtables. And as we worked with the different regulators and the tech solution providers, we were able to convene those two groups to have robust conversations. And in those discussions, they were instrumental in shaping these use cases. For example, the roundtables highlighted the potential of generative AI in fraud detection, where generative AI enabled solutions can be used for identifying hidden patterns and anomalies to mitigate financial crimes. Generative AI could also be used for consumer protection with innovations like multilingual virtual financial assistants that enhance accessibility and financial literacy. Gen AI can also be used for compliance automation. I mentioned that a little bit earlier, but tools that digitize regulatory rules, allowing them to be searchable, queryable, transformed into processes or simplified. They also can generate audit trails and streamline compliance process as a whole. Gen AI can enhance risk assessments by enabling real-time risk monitoring and any type of detection with fraud, providing regulators with advanced tools to identify vulnerabilities and mitigate risk effectively. Generative AI can also assist with policy development in a way where it can facilitate the creation of data-driven policy recommendations, allowing for the synthesis of structured and unstructured data into actionable regulatory frameworks. Another use case that was identified during our roundtable discussions was decision support. AI-powered decision support tools offer enhanced insights through predictive analytics and contextualized data, aiding in informed and timely decision-making for regulators and financial institutions. Data analysis and monitoring was another use case, and AI-powered tools enable the extraction of insights from vast data sets, automating tasks like summarization, trend identification, and any detection to support data-led supervision. So these use cases then became the cornerstone of the functionality that was showcased in the tech showcase. Now, Nitya will further explore how these ideas translated into tangible solutions in our tech showcase.
Thank you, Mariama. Hello, everyone. I'll just provide an overview of the Tech Showcase. So the Tech Showcase sessions were co-hosted by AIR and the Cambridge Subtech Lab with support by the RegTech Association. So through these sessions, we intended to, from a financial authority point of view, showcase real-life examples of generative AI-enabled solutions that could positively support their regulatory activity, and from a solution provider point of view, inspire enhancement of their solutions from the feedback that they've received from the regulators to better meet regulatory needs and protect consumers. So the objective of the Tech Showcase was for us to create a platform to connect this ecosystem in a responsible way. We've hosted closed invite-only Q&A sessions in order to create a safe space for regulators and solution providers to have open and honest conversations. Moving on to the number of sessions that we've organized 3 Tech Showcase sessions in the first half of this year, which featured 19 Gen AI solutions out of the 32 submissions that we've received. We've also had 12 regulators and 1 consumer advocacy group participating through these sessions. We have 19 solutions that have been showcased, but all the solutions and the 32 solutions and the solution providers are listed on AIR's digital showcase page that you can access. Moving on to the participants, like Mariama has discussed, the roundtable outputs helped us design the themes and use cases, and these were catered to by the solution providers through the tech showcase. So just an overview of the participants that we've seen for each of these themes. The compliance automations, that's one of the first themes. The use cases here included rules, digitization, regulatory intelligence, and improving process efficiency through automation. So some of the participants here are the Qatar Financial Center Regulatory Authority. The regulator themselves came up with a solution. We have Braithwaite, Norm AI, Cognitive View here. Then we have the data analysis and monitoring theme. And the use cases the participants catered to here, we had solutions related to insights generation, then the synthetic data generation, as well as summarization. Some of the notable participants here would be FinCrime Dynamics, Data Lake, Complier, NIA 1. Then we have the risk assessment theme. Here we had solutions catering to real-time risk monitoring, and also a solution which could interpret patterns out of data. And that is the Cognitive View. That's the solution provider there. Then we have the consumer protection theme. Here we had use cases where solutions catered to consumer protection. So there was a chatbot and a case management system. It also provided multilingual support to consumers. So here the participants are Proto, Amplified Global, and Cognitive View. Just a note over here is that a couple of solutions also catered to multiple themes. The next one is fraud detection. The solution is real-time payment fraud monitoring, and we also had a digital identification solution and another solution which helped with identifying deceptive activities. So here the participants include IDverse, Featurespace, and also FinCrime Dynamics. This has multiple themes. Then you have the last one is the decision support theme. This was the virtual assistance and information retrieval. So that's a support tool which also helps with lawsuit resolution as well as licensing process simplification. So here the participants are Regnology, this is the chatbot, then Aptus AI, DHI AI, and Vino Solutions. So this is just a quick overview of the participants that we've had for the showcases. Key takeaways from the tech showcase. The first one would be the advantages of Gen AI in financial regulation. So this is nothing but the use cases that these solutions cater to. So the first one here was productivity enhancement. That's the main advantage. So automation of tasks such as summarization or insights generation, content creation. Like I mentioned, Data Lake is an example here. So this is one of the major advantages of using generative AI. Then we have data privacy and bias reduction. This can be done using synthetic data, and the solution provider here would be NIA 1. The third one is improved services. So like we mentioned earlier, virtual assistants and AI-based monitoring is helpful here. It provides better customer service and compliance. Regnology chatbot is an example here, which you can access and check, which provides improved services. Then is fraud detection. So it's enhanced risk management through stress testing and scenario building. So we have FinCrime Dynamics. They have a fraud detection solution. The next one is market intelligence. So basically enhancing intelligence through data analysis, also digitization of regulatory rule books. There's a solution provider, Williams Lee, which caters to digitization of regulatory rule books that you can check. The last one is consumer protection. So that's providing personalized financial services and literacy tools. Example here, the solution provider would be Proto. So the tech showcases also highlighted concerns with generative AI. So as we've discussed earlier, concerns would be risk of hallucinations. You can have incorrect outputs from these models, explainability issues. So it's because of the black box nature of these algorithms. You can also have data biases. So this affects outcomes as well. Then you have privacy and security risks. So this includes data breaches, phishing, and fraud. However, so the solutions that were showcased could address these concerns. So that is through using specialized models. So few of these solutions used architectures such as RAG, that's retrieval augmented architecture, to reduce hallucinations. So they've also used explainable AI techniques and human oversight, so that provides transparency measures. Also, bias mitigation through expert curated knowledge graphs and validation process. We have solutions that dealt with this. And also, I think the most important one is the human in the loop approaches. So you involve domain experts, you have that human element for iterative development. And most of these solutions also had this. So I think they came up with concerns, but they also had solutions to address these concerns. So moving on to the shared learning series. So these were informative sessions that intended to facilitate dialogue around key consumer protection policy and supervisory impacts. So we covered a variety of themes here. So we have ethics sessions on fraud prevention, financial inclusion, consumer protection, as well as generative AI tools. We've catered to multiple stakeholders here. So this includes regulators, financial service providers, academic groups, consumer advocacy groups, as well as technology providers. So we had 9 sessions, and this was held from April to September of this year. A couple of sessions also had content partners, and that includes Alex Partners as well as the Cambridge Subtech Lab. I will take you through key takeaways for 8 of these sessions because the 9th session is a tech showcase which was clubbed with the earlier segment. So the first 3 sessions, so the first session is basically ethics in the age of generative AI. So this talks about the ethical considerations and challenges when using generative AI. I think the key takeaway that we've had from this session was that it's important to ensure accountability at every level. So be it a developer or be it an implementer or a user, it's very crucial for an ethical and responsible use of generative AI. So the speakers here spoke about requiring clear roles, ensuring transparency, and also collaboration between organizations and regulators. That's a key takeaway here. The second session is about agentic AI safety foundations. The speaker spoke about the rise of agentic AI, which is basically an autonomous system which basically caters to complex tasks without having any direct supervision. So the key takeaway here is that since it's autonomous system, it's very important to have ethical safeguards and robust regulation to ensure that these systems align with human values and also prevent misuse. So that's the key takeaway here. And the third session is about consumer protection and risk in the age of generative AI. So this is with an emerging market focus. So it spoke about the challenges that consumers face in emerging markets in terms of using generative AI, using digital financial services. And this session highlighted the need to balance the generative AI's potential to improve financial inclusion as well as consumer empowerment while addressing risks. So we discussed risks such as bias, data misuse, and exclusion. And it's very important to address these risks through inclusive development, robust governance, and consumer advocacy. So what we see over here in the first 3 sessions is a common point that generative AI has a potential to transform the financial landscape, but it's very important to balance the risk, and that's something that's a common theme throughout these sessions. So quickly moving on to the others. So we had an AI celebrity interview session as well. So this is led by Christopher Calabia, who is the author for the generative AI white paper that's published by AIR. So the link is provided for you to view. So he spoke about the how generative AI is transforming the financial landscape, but also spoke about the dual nature of generative AI and how we can address this. So I think that another key thing that he spoke about is the potential for generative AI to analyze unstructured data. So 80% of the data that's available is unstructured, and it's very complex to come up with insights from this data. And generative AI helps with that. While it does that, but its adoption also requires addressing all the challenges that it has. And also, it's very critical to ensure explainability and also maintain a human oversight to mitigate all the risks. So then we also had a great AI debate. So here we had thought leaders talking about the risks as well as the potential of generative AI. And like all the previous sessions, it's also the conclusion was that generative AI has immense potential, but again, it needs to be balanced with robust regulation, ethical oversight, as well as the commitment to mitigate all these risks. Then we had a very interesting session on generative AI and financial inclusion. So here, the speakers mentioned that generative AI can be used to come up with alternative credit scoring models. So you can have models that can analyze non-traditional data, such as social media and videos, and can access a person's credit worthiness. So this basically helps with expanding credit access to underserved groups. But it's very important to deploy it in an ethical way so that you prevent biases and promote inclusivity. So it's a very key session that we've had. Then moving on to the final two sessions, we had a fraud session. So this was led by Alex Partners. Um, so here, again, they mentioned that generative AI enhances fraud detection, but it's also exploited by criminals for scams such as deep fakes and voice cloning. This is something that's prevalent lately. It's also crucial to know that many fraud management professionals believe that criminals use AI more efficiently to propagate fraud than organizations do for prevention. So it's very important to come up with proactive and tech driven defenses. So it's a very interesting session. The final one that we had is Gen AI in financial supervision. So this is exploring tools for regulators. This was led by the Cambridge Subtech Lab. We've demonstrated a tool called the Data Gymnasium. So it's a collaborative platform which enables regulators to prototype, test, and validate data-driven solutions. So this can be used for tasks like complaint analysis, fraud detection, and generative AI use like summarization. So in short, I think these were the key takeaways from our sessions, and the link will be provided for these recordings for you to view. Over to you, Mayama.
Thank you, Nitya. I would like to say that from the shared learning um, sessions, that my favorite session was the Great AI Debate that was actually moderated by the co-founder of Money 2020, Zach Petit Anderson. It was a very lively type debate where we had those individuals that were for generative AI and those that felt that generative AI would be the disaster of mankind. So, as Nitya mentioned, the recordings you can access. I believe that the link is being displayed now, but then later on, at the end of the presentation or our session, you'll be able to see the QR codes to be able to access all of the sessions that Nitya just spoke about. One of the additional activities that was under the NextGenAI program was our call for papers. Next slide, Nitya. Thank you. Our call for papers initiative invited thought leaders to envision how generative AI will impact the future of financial regulation. The theme here was navigating generative AI's role in financial regulation, addressing both its transformative potential and its potential challenges. With submissions from academia, industry experts, and advocacy groups, submissions explored topics such as credit applications, onboarding, fraud prevention, digital transformation, ethics, and regulatory pathways. Next slide. Out of 5 submissions, 3 have been selected to be featured on the Barefoot Innovation podcast, and that will be made available earlier next year. And you can hear directly from the 3 authors. So I'll just give you a quick rundown of the topics that were covered in those 3 selected papers. Dr. Henry Ballany, his paper titled Balancing Innovation and Risk, the Transformative Potential of Generative AI for KYC Onboarding in the Banking Sector, highlighted how Gen AI can automate data entry, verification, and risk assessment, leading to more efficient, accurate, and personalized KYC process. Dr. David Hardoon and his team, their submission, Navigating Gen AI Ethics, a review of its regulatory landscape and a proposed governance framework for all stages of Gen AI development lifecycle, proposed a lifecycle-based Gen AI governance framework. His paper spotlighting ethical principles like transparency and bias mitigation. Dr. Hardoon proposed what he proposed should be integrated into every stage of AI development and deployment, keeping in mind the ethical implications. Delisha Reynolds Hen, a senior director at Consumer Reports, Her paper emphasized leveraging Gen AI for financial inclusion by addressing biases in lending practices and expanding credit access through alternative credit scoring models. She also explored the evolution of autonomous financial management tools, AI driven solutions that not only predict but can also prevent financial risk, redefining the concept of proactive consumer protection. Her submission is titled Reimagining Consumer Financial Protection, AI Paradigm Shifts, and the Future of Finance. These papers collectively underscore the transformative potential of generative AI, and has a balance by the need of ethical oversight and robust governance. They offer actionable pathways for integrating AI innovations while safeguarding consumer interests and maintaining regulatory integrity. Next slide. So as I mentioned, here are the QR codes. I want to highlight the wealth of resources we've developed, from generative AI white paper to the digital showcase and roundtable summaries. There's something for everyone. These materials are designed to help you apply the learnings and tools from NextGen AI in your own work. And be sure to visit the website for access to these resources and stay informed about our ongoing efforts, including the Global Fraud Program. Next slide. So, as we look ahead, I'm really excited to introduce the Alliance for Innovative Regulations Global Fraud Program. It's our next big step in tackling financial fraud on a global scale. This program is grounded in four key pillars, and that would be consumer defense, where we focus on protecting individuals through advanced technologies and advocacy efforts to ensure that there is financial safety. Network defense covers a way for us to strengthen fraud prevention through collaborative data sharing and strategic partnerships, and essentially bringing together the ecosystem in a way where uh, we have collaborative channels to share information. Our third pillar or focus area under the Global Fraud Program includes AML BSA standards, where we're addressing illicit financial activities by developing, promoting global anti money laundering and Bank Secrecy Act standards. And finally, with these three focus areas, there is a heavy lean on technology that will be developed, and that technology will be living in the incubator accelerator program. And it's essentially an innovation hub to scale and deploy cutting edge technologies for fraud prevention. Recently, we concluded a tech sprint in West Africa focused on combating digital payment fraud. And the insights and solutions generated there have laid a strong foundation for the program's future initiatives. Our commitment remains to foster innovation, share best practices, and build a secure financial ecosystem. So we invite you to stay connected by joining our mailing list, exploring our resources, and collaborating with us as we take this program forward. Together, we can create a resilient framework to counter fraud and protect financial consumers worldwide. We'll take any questions that you may have, and hopefully that you all have had the chance to um, address the poll questions and lend your opinions and your thoughts there. Thank you. So for the question, what is the greatest concern for regulators regarding Gen AI adoption in financial services? Can't say that I'm surprised there. The risk of fraud from AI generated misinformation, lack of explainability in AI decision making. So the decision making models came in first, and the risk of fraud, AI generated misinformation came in second. And that really and truly is what we have been hearing in our roundtable discussions. With the second poll, what aspect of Gen AI adoption should financial institutions prioritize to maximize consumer trust? We see that developing explainable AI systems for better transparency is at 33%. And that makes sense. Again, the major conversations around the black box and not really having traceability um, was one of the major topics of discussion. And with that, we have one more. Which use cases of Gen AI will have the most transformative impact on financial regulation? There seems to be a tie between automated compliance and reporting processes and enhancing risk assessment capabilities. With that, I would like to close our session out and just thank you all for joining us. And a big thank you to Cambridge Suit Tech Lab and CCAF for allowing us to join you all today and to share our insights that were gathered during our Next Gen AI program. Thank you all and have a great Friday.